Good evening, everybody. We're going to call to order our meeting for tonight. Bailey?
Here.
Maureen?
Here.
Dar?
Here.
Lindsay?
Here.
Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's see here what we got. Okay, let's have public comments. The City Council will receive public comments on any issue related to the agenda items. Limited discussion by the City Council may take place. Not seeing any, we'll go to the consent agenda. The City Council minutes for June of 22, Fire and EMS Commission minutes June 24th, the general fund balances for June of 2026, cash balances June 2026, paid invoice report June 2026, and a special event permit celebrating the life of Ernest Tromberg on Saturday, June 25th, 2026, from 12 to 5 p.m. at Freedom Park.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, we'll go to the public hearing. Public hearing on a liquor license application and fermented malt beverages for the Pizza Arcade in Enrique's for July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Lindsay?
Aye.
Dar?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
Bailey?
Aye.
We're open for public comment, or hearing.
Pretty straightforward. We just had two businesses that were late turning in their liquor license applications, so these got pushed back one meeting. We haven't had any objections, and the police department has reviewed the applications and does not have any concerns with the two businesses. They both have previously held liquor licenses last year.
Make the motion to come out of public hearing.
Second.
Bailey?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
Dar?
Aye.
Lindsay?
Aye.
We're out of public hearing.
Make the motion to approve the liquor license for both Enrique's and the Pizza Arcade from July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Second.
We got a first and a second. Lindsay?
Aye.
Dar?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
And Bailey?
Aye.
It passes. Okay. Next one is the reports of standing committees and commissions. Finance Committee, there's nothing. Planning Commission, report for September, July 8th, 2026. Matt, you want to take that?
Yeah, for the Plan Commission, actually all the items that we had on Planning Commission are going to be on the agenda, so just real quickly, it's 445 Court Street, the assisted living, which is going to be our first full agenda item. Then we have the certified survey map for Sunset Court, which we'll be talking about, and then the approval to go to a public hearing for proposed text amendments to Chapter 635 zoning. So I'll get into each one of those in a presentation. So,
Thank you. Next meeting is Monday, August 3rd, 2026 at 6 p.m. Parks and Public Works. Next meeting is Monday, July 20th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Health and Safety Committee report, Monday, July 13th, 2026.
We just had the meeting tonight. Some of the items that we discussed, the first item was reviewing our city code in regards to loud and unnecessary noise. This was because of a complaint regarding the construction site at the Bluffs, but we also just discussed our ordinances in regard to particular construction sites. We also then discussed Two Rivers at 117 Broad Street in regard to the handicap ramp. And also there was an issue with some of their dumpsters. Both of these, actually there's another item too, but can't go into details. There'll be some letters going out to residents. Finally, we did discuss 1054 Wakota Street. And lastly, we discuss possibly drafting an ordinance with e-bikes, scooters, electronic motorcycles. We're just sort of looking out to see what other cities are doing, and we will be reviewing our ordinances moving forward. And that was it.
Thanks, Dar.
Yep.
Next meeting is September 14th at 5 o'clock. Personnel, next meeting is Wednesday, July 15th at 3 p.m. Next is public comments. The city council will receive public comments on any issue not related to the agenda items. Limited discussion by the city council may take place, however, no action will be taken of any item. This includes receiving written requests, documentation, and possible action at a future meeting. Not seeing any. We'll go on to 445 Court Street, Assisted Living Facilities Approval. Resolution 3426, approving a site plan review for the assisted living development at 445 Court Street. Matt, ready?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. So before I start, I just want to mention Alan Ketchpool with Kimberly Horn is here. He was the engineer working with the owner. The owner, unfortunately, he was at the Plan Commission, but he couldn't make tonight's meeting. So if there are questions, I'll turn it over to Mr. Ketchpool as part of the discussion. So before you tonight is a conditional use permit and a site plan review. A little bit of a project overview. This project is happening at 445 Court Street. The applicant is Nottingham Constructions. This site is a 2.24 acre site. It is zoned R1 mixed residential. The current site is vacant. Formerly was an institutional and daycare center. Prior concept plan was approved by Council and Planning Commission in August of 2025. So the proposal is for one building, which would be assisted living. We'll have 59 units and 67 bedrooms, 17 studio, 34 one-bedroom, and 8 two-bedroom for that total of 59 units. Surrounding land uses are all one mixed residential. The one kind of caveat there is the west side does have Peacock Ridge Estates, which was a PUD overlay for that project back, I believe, in 1996 that was approved. As this is an assisted living facility in an R1 district, it does require a conditional use permit. The review is focused on whether the proposed use meets the applicable ordinance standards and whether conditions are needed to address specific impacts. Per Wisconsin state statutes, again, conditional uses you can impose applicable conditions, but the city does not have, under Wisconsin state statutes, the ability to outright deny a conditional use. It can just require applicable conditions, and if those are willing to be met, then the project would be moving forward. Site plan standards. It is meeting all standards. Front is being proposed at a 25-foot setback, is compliant with that. Same with the side at 12 is being proposed, or required at 12, being proposed at 25. Building height is proposed at 35, or proposed at 34, there's a requirement of 35. Maximum lot coverage for just the structures on the building, you can have a maximum of 50% in the R1 district. This has 25.8%. And then maximum lot coverage with the structures and the impervious surface, you can have a maximum of 70%, and this has 67.1% total. Parking, the original concept plan was not meeting parking standards. That was one of the things that was discussed specifically as part of the concept plan review. The applicant went back and they have met that standard now, adding some underground parking as part of the site plan. They are required to have 67. The proposal shows 80. They are required to have 3 ADA stalls, and they are proposed to show or include 7. Site access, there are 2 access, which we'll get here off Oak Street, and then 1 off Court Street. So you can see that here as well. So 2 off Oak Street here. One will be going under and have access to the underground spots, and then one off Oak Street and one off Court will be the internal parking, surface level parking outside the building in front. Landscaping standards per our L2, or per our landscaping statutes, the site qualifies under L2, so 1 tree per 30 linear feet of street frontage, and then shrubs 6 per 30 linear feet of street frontage. So proposed, they're required to have 22 trees, they're proposing 36, and then shrubs, they're required to have 132, and they're proposing 182 shrubs as part of the plan. Architecture and lighting. Per our architectural standards, elevation and renderings show that they're going to be a combination of LP smart siding, composites shake siding, and stone veneer, so they are meeting architectural standards. And then exterior lighting, they aren't showing an exterior lighting plan, but per approval, site plan review, all exterior parking lot lights must prevent glare and light from trespassing onto adjacent properties. So the big one with this site, long-term, has been just due to the slope, stormwater management, and looking at that. Since it is a 2.25 acre site, a Wisconsin DNR notice of intent permit is required under NR 216 and NR 151. The stormwater pond, since it is a kind of a limited site, the stormwater pond is actually being managed by an underground detention system, which you can see this is highlighted in yellow on the site plan showing the stormwater drainage. So the site drains to this underground system, which then controls the overall flow off the site and into the stormwater system. So overall, that's what allows the site then to actually lower the amount of drainage that's being shown. So this is the information that Kimberly Horn put together in terms of the stormwater. A 1.5 inch event pre-development is 0.35, post is 0.32 for a reduction of 8.5%. 2-year 1.78 inches reduced post-construction to 0.6, so 66% reduction. 10-year 30.5% reduction. 100-year 20.6%. So this is drainage to the west side street storm sewer, and then drainage offsite to Peacock Ridge. Similarly, 1.5 100% reduction, 73.5% in a 2-year, 54% in a 10-year, and then 40% in a 100-year. So the site development standards that are being imposed will help with runoff and significantly reduce them as a result of the development. And then looking at long-term utility capacity, if you break down the proposed potential impacts, the average user uses about 77 gallons per day with 59 units. So if we're applying just an estimate of 4,543 gallons per day, increase it from the project would be 4,543, as I mentioned. Afterwards, for the whole city, would then be 330,390. Our well capacity, again, is well in excess of that. Just this makes the assumption that all 3 of our wells would be running at 100% capacity, which isn't really realistic, but it just kind of shows you that we do have plenty of well capacity. Similar to sewer, using those same projections, for a daily use would be 356, 700, 5,000. We have enough capacity then for at 500,000 gallons per day at our sewer treatment plant. The water and sewer connections themselves, the post or former development at the site had an existing 2-inch water and sewer connection. These will be replaced with new 6-inch, so they will get a credit for the 2 inches in terms of impact and connection fees as a result of the development. The Plan Commission had a public hearing this last Wednesday on July 8th. Most of the comments, I won't read them outright, discuss surface water runoff. If you remember, a while back, Peacock Ridge had some issues with surface water and stormwater runoff that caused some problems with the retaining wall, so a number of those residents were concerned and had questions regarding the stormwater runoff, so those were addressed. Additionally, one of the conditions within the conditional use permit is the retaining wall has to be pre and post inspected as part of construction to make sure that the wall itself was not damaged as part of construction. So before you tonight is the recommendation of considering approval for both the site plan and the conditional use permit. The Plan Commission approved both at their meeting on last week on July 8th by a vote of 4-0. So I'll turn it over to council for comments or question. And again, Mr. Catchpole is here as well for any questions as well.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 3426.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It passes.
Matt, thank you for including those comments from the planning commission. I think it's
Yeah.
important when that,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, I don't know, I haven't seen that done before and I like it. So it's nice to get that input. And my biggest concern was the stormwater, so it looks like you have aggressively addressed it, so
Yeah.
thank you.
And so the comment from the Peacock Ridge townhomes would be that the new plan for stormwater will protect that new retaining wall?
It will reduce the runoff from the site.
Yeah.
So if protection by mean the water will not as easily access that wall, I would say that. I don't know. In your professional opinion, Alan, if you would agree or not?
Yes, I would exactly say that. We're directing the water elsewhere.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve 3526, approving a conditional use permit for an assisted living facility at 445 Court Street.
I'll second that motion.
We got a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Not hearing any? It passes.
Very happy to see this moving forward.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess just add a thanks for Kimberly Horn and
Yeah.
Alan. It was a very easy process to go through and work through. And
Thank you, we're very
Thank you.
excited about
Like I
it.
said, Matt and the city made it, enjoyable and so very, very easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is approval of the law enforcement reimbursement agreement between the city of Prescott and Zoe Norwad.
Let me tell you.
Eric?
Thank you, Mayor. What we're looking at is an agreement that's been used for two other candidates that we've sponsored through the Law Enforcement Academy. We went to this route because we were having a hard time attracting candidates, and in order to hire, we used to base our standards over the caveat that you had to be certified already, and that really cut down our candidate pool. Once we started sponsoring, we were able to open up that candidate pool and get more applicants and have a better hiring pool. We've now sponsored two through the academy with this agreement. They're both still here, they're both doing excellent, and I foresee the same thing with Zoe.
I'll make a motion to approve the law enforcement officer reimbursement agreement between the city of Prescott and Zoe Narod.
Second.
We got a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
I just have a question. Is she from here, or did she see that on the application and applied anyway?
Grand
Nope,
Marsh.
What's that?
She
Say that
saw
again?
she saw this agreement on the application and decided to apply.
We don't put it on the application,
Okay.
basically they go through the process and then we tell them, all right, we have an opportunity to sponsor you, but this is what you're gonna have to look at and you're gonna have to agree to this agreement before we sponsor you, so. If they say yes, then we move forward, if they don't, then we don't get to this point, so.
Great. That was it.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next is Resolution 3626, approving certified survey subdivision of parcel southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 3, Township 26 North, Range 20 West. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So Ed and Mary Lucas, owners at 501 Court Street, have been working with the Hendricksons, who own 1201 Pearl Street, to put forward the CSM. This would transfer the north 186 feet and east 191 feet of Lot 2 to a Lot 1. Both the lots are zoned R1 mixed residential, so there aren't any zoning issues with the proposed CSM. Under state statute or city statutes and state statutes, the overall authority lies on the Plan Commission and City Council. Plan Commission has reviewed this at their meeting last week and voted to approve it 4-0. So just to give you a review of the CSM, the current lot, Lot 1, is owned by Ed and Mary Lucas. The dashed line is the former lot line. This CSM will expand that lot through a purchase of the land that then would convert a larger Lot 1 and then divide Lot 2 into a small area. And this Lot 2 would then be up against Sunset Court and Pearl Street there as well. So with that, recommendation of considering the resolution 36-26, I'll turn it over to council for comments and questions.
Motion to approve 3626.
I'll second that motion.
We got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the matter? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Approval of special event permit for the Confluence and committees on Saturday, August 8th, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll turn it over to Friends of Freedom Parking here in a second. Jared and Linda are both here with that organization. But just to go over some details quick, event date is Saturday, August 8th from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Estimated attendance is 250 to 300 people. It is open to the public, no admissions fee, and the event will include food trucks, vendors, performances, and cultural programming. Performances from Ojibwe Drum Club, LDF Drum Group, Tomahawk Circle, Traditional Ojibwe and Dakota Dancers, and the Dakota Drum Group. Requests as part of the event are electrical extension cords and then 2 additional portable toilets, one being ADA accessible. Linda, would you mind coming up and just walking through the site plan? I apologize.
Thank you, Council, Mayor. So as you can see, as you enter at the top of the map, as you enter into the grounds, you have in orange, the Great River Road Visitor and Learning Center, which will be the main entrance into the event. The interior of you see the gazebo, and the interior in front of the gazebo will be the main performance area. It'll be set up for the 2 drum circles as well as the dancers. There will be 2, number 20 and number 19 are 2 20 by 20 tents that will hold each of the drum circles and the dancers to give them some shade and some performance capabilities. You're going to see behind that, you're going to see by the playground, there'll be audience seating. So that whole area will have chairs and tables for people to sit at and to watch the dancing. Also over to the far, to the right of the map, you're going to see additional audience seating. And, excuse me, then there'll be craft vendors that will be lined up along the sidewalk that runs along the bluff line. And the food trucks will be parked on the side that currently holds parking spaces for RVs. There'll be food trucks parked there, and a couple of them need power, so they'll pull from the pavilion for power. The pavilion will act as a food court for the event. So that's where everybody will have abilities to sit and have food and drink. I don't believe there's going to be any other vendors that will need major electricals. We just have to have long enough extension cords to be able to pull from the electrical box that sits by the pavilion right now, hence the request for long extension cords and some covering materials. We're going to order those to cover and have everyone for safety issues so they don't trip on the long extension cords. We also requested some additional porta potties to be placed where the current porta potty is, which you'll see to the very far right, portable toilets over here. So we'll have some more there. The interior of the center will be open as well, and we'll be able to host the 2 communities within our center. That will be their changing space. That's where they can put their regalia and other materials. So basically, the amphitheater will not be used just because right now it doesn't have a purpose right now. Right. So the interior of the park, all of it will be used currently. So. Have any? Okay. And then Jared also has, if you want to come up, talk parking. Do you want Jared to come?
Sure.
Parking?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll go to the next
Okay.
slide here.
And Jared has parking.
Thank you.
Okay. So the idea that I have shown on here a little hard to read on the screen, but is to change the traffic control of the block around Freedom Park for the event temporarily, so then it becomes a one-way traffic with diagonal parking for an entire block to add on, almost 60% or 50% more parking spots for that lot there. Along with parking, there's going to be a shuttle that's going to be coming from the high school. Is that correct? Okay. And I don't know if there's anything else really to
Do you
make
get
sure.
some signage to go along with
So
that?
the signage, I don't know if the city is able to provide the signage that I've presented on here, or if it's something that we'll have to figure out. Okay, we'll have to run some signage for it? Okay.
We need to talk, Linda, about what kind of sign, how big the signs need to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the street control?
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
street.
so, for the MUTCD signage standards of roads, 24-inch by 24-inch probably signs
Yeah,
is what we'll
okay.
be looking
'Cause
at.
I'm working with Paula to put the sign order in.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and I've got a good understanding of sign standards for highway control,
Okay.
so I can also assist in any of those conversations as well.
Okay.
Anything else?
So just the recommendation before you is consideration of the approval for the special event permit with the conditions that the city will supply the traffic cones and electrical extension cords. The city will pay for supplying 2 additional portable toilets, with one being ADA accessible. The organizers will be in charge of implementing the traffic control plan, ensuring that the plan is set up the day before the event and the plan is followed during the event. And the organizers provide a letter to those living within that block neighborhood of the traffic plan to notify them of the event and the change in traffic pattern for the day of the event.
I would make a motion to approve the special event with the conditions of 1 through 4.
Second?
We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I'm excited. It's gonna be really great.
I agree. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, passes. Okay. Okay, Resolution 3726, approving the agreement with Cedar Corporation for professional design engineering services for the Cooley River Trails Phase 1, Segment 2, Walnut Circle to McGee's Park Trail Connection. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to turn it over to City Engineer Greg Adams here in a second, but I'll give a brief overview. So with the city-approved final plat, road plans, and development agreement for Walnut Circle subdivision, as part of that approval, the subdivision dedicated 23.9 acres to the public for park purposes. Per the approved development agreement, the city is responsible for constructing a trail connection from Walnut Circle to McGee Park. To support this project, the city entered into a grant agreement with Friends of Freedom Park and Cooley River Trails for $100,000 and an agreement to raise an additional commitment to raise $40,000. The city approved a concept plan for the additional 23.9 acres on April 27th, which we worked with Jared Schmitz and the Friends of Freedom Park to complete. So just to give you, this is the map of the concept plan that was approved, to just give you a sense of, so Walnut Circle is just to the north of here. It's a continuation of Walnut Street. I believe this yellowish line is what will be developed as part of that subdivision. This proposal then would connect that trail and run all the way over to McGee Park, over to the southwest here. There is one intermittent stream crossing which we'll have to work through. We met today with Greg and talked through that. This would not be a bridge crossing. We had to go through a DNR hydrology study. They did approve 2 future crossings that you can see on this map here that would be allowed, but at this time that would not be a part of the proposal. It would be a future addition if it does happen. So with that, I'll turn it over to Greg to talk through some of the costs and financing of the project, and working through that.
It's really getting redundant.
So the scope of the fees, or the scope that we provided would be to do the topographic surveying to cover that segment of trail that Matt had described. Also just verifying the right-of-way research, preliminary engineering, and then final engineering, and then permitting required for that. So the engineering cost would be $18,150. So this doesn't include construction administration services. That if this does go out for bids, and in that fashion, we do specifications, bidding, and award, and oversight. Matt and I did talk today a little bit about the timeline, and it would be a lot easier to survey this in October when the leaves go down. It's really hard to get a survey with GPS and wooded cover. So my timeline will probably shift about 3 months roughly from beginning to end. And then I think Matt has that last bullet down there to talk about the.
Yeah.
The,
You don't want to talk about the finance?
I don't know the financing.
So per the agreement with the grant agreement and the overall work, as this is a parks improvement and a trail improvement project, the proposal before you for financing it would be coming out of the city's Parks Improvement Fund. We currently have a balance of $73,762 in that fund, and those grant funds, once they are received, which is pending the final plat being recorded, would be put into that fund as well for future trail development.
Money well spent. Motion to approve resolution 3726.
I'll second that. Okay.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 1. Okay. Next is Resolution 3826, approving the agreement with Cedar Corporation Concept Plan Service for the police, library, and city hall facilities. Matt?
Thank you, Bear. So Corey with Cedar Corporation here as well, so I'm just going to go through some background, and then I'll turn it over to him to walk through the proposal. So how do we got here? Back in January of 2024, the city approved and completed a space needs assessment for the police, fire, EMS, city hall, and library facilities. On August 12th, the council approved a concept plan for a central public safety building, which would house police, fire, and EMS. Then July 28th, 2025, the council held a workshop that evaluated the concept planning with the required public safety building showing a need for 5 acres. Then May 27th of this year, the council reviewed potential next steps due to the limited options that we had with a 5-acre site and the desire for the fire department to remain at their current location. At that meeting, then the council decided to look at splitting up the projects, keeping the fire and EMS at the location on Florida Square where Fire Station 1 is, and then keeping City Hall, Library, and Police at our current locations here in a potential shared facility. So with that, I'll turn it over to Corey to kind of walk through the proposal, and then after he goes through that, I'll talk through financing for the work.
Good evening. So in front of you, we have just a kind of a quick breakdown of the agreement that we've provided to the city. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to reevaluate the space needs, looking at what is in this building, the needs of the groups that'll be within the new building, so police, city hall, library, shared space, that community space function, and try to come up with a solution that fits this site. As we go through those space needs, what we're going to have to spend a fair amount of time doing is looking at the site, because as you walk out the main entrance here to the east, there's a lot of grade. So we've looked at that. We believe it can work. Greg and I will look at that a little more extensively, whether it's a single story, a split story, however we can accomplish that to provide the most efficient and functional building for a reasonable cost. As we get through the site analysis, we're going to do a conceptual layout. We went through our last process. We kept that conceptual layout, larger blocks and kind of simple. We're gonna have to dive into the details a little bit more just because of the grades and how we're gonna work with the existing building, so there'll be a little bit more detail in that. And that'll all culminate in a final design presentation and kind of a workshop meeting like we did last time. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions on the process.
Little birdie told me we need to make sure to incorporate the cable.
Yeah.
The cable people? Yeah.
They should be included
Yeah.
in this, make sure they're involved in this process and
Their needs get
their needs
met.
get met.
Yeah, and this process, so similar to the last effort we did, will kind of be that 30,000-foot view. So as we hone into once the council says, yeah, we want to look at this in greater detail and get into design, then we will have a lot more of those meetings. This is very high level yet. But as we go further down the path in the process, we'll have to talk to all the users and have more involved design meetings and, meeting with the folks that are running the cable, city staff, the library, police department, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited about this, so it's good to see this moving forward. In terms of the cost, we did provide a breakdown of that. The space needs and planning services was $7,975. Conceptual design was $20,750. And then we provided an alternate for the exterior renderings for the facility. The exterior renderings can be done at any time, so once we get a little bit further down the path here and we look to the design, we can start working on those and making sure we come up with a design that fits the architecture of this building, is fitting with the neighborhood buildings and kind of that buffer between some of that residential and commercial here, so. Any questions for me on that?
I have some questions, but I don't think you'll be able to answer them. I think Matt will have to answer them. I thought that we were not in agreement that we would separate fire and EMS from the police department because they have similar shared facility needs. And so are we going to be duplicating that? And what happens to the public works? They wanted that building for additional they wanted that building for an additional facility if we moved EMS and the police together.
Sure. So I guess to answer your first comment, I know there was some disagreement amongst council when we held our workshop, and I think the vote was 4-2 about splitting it up. So ultimately, we moved forward with this proposal of splitting them up, and that's how we came to this.
Was I at that? I
Yes.
must have
I know,
been
I
at
had
that
to
meeting. I
miss
don't
it.
remember the
You were-
vote, though.
Or so
Yeah.
maybe it was 3-2, because I think Dara was not there.
Yeah.
Because I would have said something differently.
Regarding,
No, there was
regarding your
reasons.
second question, which was, sorry, repeat the second.
The needs of public works for additional storage,
Yes, so
vehicle storage.
we put aside, I can't remember the exact amount, but I think it's something like $125,000 that we were holding, that if the fire department were gonna move, we were gonna put in towards that building to fix it up so Public Works could use it as like an annex storage area. Ultimately, as part of this project, we'll have to look at that, because that money will have to go to Public Works and looking at building additional storage. So that will be, assuming we work through how this moves forward, that will be an additional layer of what we'll have to then look at, because some of the other needs that we addressed in our org study, our department study for them are like, for instance, having a separate training room for Public Works. Right now, they're sharing a training / break room / basically everything all in one area. So long-term, what does that look like for Public Works? They're not so much constricted on space in terms of land space, but they are constricted on storage, so that will be something we'll have to continue to address.
Okay. I also wanted to know whether or not we would be looking at demolishing this building as well. I think there's some reason to do that in my head because of the inadequate basement facility that we currently have. So I wondered if we would be demolishing both?
We've never looked at demolishing this building. It was built in 1991 and it has a solid foundation in terms of there's no, I guess specifically when we talk about the police and fire, those are both pole shed structures. They're slab on grade, so they have significant long-term maintenance issues, whereas this one doesn't have that same. I mean, it will have long-term maintenance issues, but there's never been a discussion in terms of actually looking. It does need, for instance, new windows eventually, but the structure of itself is much better. But we also have an architect in the room who could probably talk more to that if you want.
Well, and I'm interested in better storage on the lowest level because of archive and is there a requirement that we move some of our archives to the state level, or do we have to keep them all on site?
Do we have contracts with Iron Mountain?
I'm not aware, I guess, of any, you're saying, so taking some of our archives and moving them to the state in terms of having them hold?
Historical Society.
Or to the Historical Society? I mean, I'm not familiar with Wisconsin's public records laws, but there are some that have to be retained for forever. And so but I'm wondering about space needs. We might as well look at future space needs for those kinds of document retention. There will be eventually, I would imagine, electronic retention rather than physical paper retention.
And that's one of our goals so for instance, we have the area downstairs and the storage room over here, and that's one of our goals is to try to archive as much as we can electronically and do away with records we can that are paper. So we're finding we're actually clearing more and more space for downstairs that we will have access to. So in terms of archiving actual documentation, I don't think we'll have as big of a need for that.
How about an elevator to get to that lower level?
That would add a lot of cost. I don't know if it'd be worth it for how much, but that's something we could talk about.
Yeah,
We may want to consider just adding more space on the main level to accommodate that storage and not rely on the basement space.
Where
as
it's
much.
damp and then
Leave that-
records can get ruined.
yeah. Well, there's ways of dealing with dampness.
Waterproofing, it's expensive.
So just to go through financing quick, and then I can turn it over back for more questions. Since the project did, as Corey mentioned, have an option for exterior rendering, right now we're recommending to delay that, and if we move forward, then we could do that at that time. So with that not being included, the total cost of the work is $28,725. We currently collect impact fees for police and the library. So to address and finance this, the project is being proposed that police impact fees would pay for $14,362.50, which is 50% of the project. So the majority of the planning is for a fully new police department, so that's why they're paying the impact fees are paying for police 50%. And then library impact fees would be $7,181.25. And then the city hall portion would be proposed out of capital fund. State statutes do not allow for impact fees or collection of any fees for planning for city halls portion, so that would come out of that capital fund for $7,181.25. So currently, the city has $17,156 in the police impact fee fund and $48,487 in the library impact fee fund. However, this doesn't include the new impact fees that we just collected for the Bluffs development. So with that, again, recommendation of consideration for resolution 3826. Turn it over to Councilor Combs for additional questions.
I'll make the approval of resolution 3826.
With the caveat that exterior renderings will be held off for now.
Yeah, I thought that, yes, yeah, we wouldn't do the 6,500 in exterior renderings, just the 20, was it,
$28,725.
that number?
Yep. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on the matter? Seeing none, I'm gonna make sure. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well, that's good, but I need to do a roll call. Lindsay, Dar,
Aye.
Maureen,
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye.
It passes. Okay. Number 8, Resolution 3926, reaffirming the corporation continue assistance and operational standard of the Housing Authority of the City of Prescott, establishment of an official office address. Matt?
Thanks, Mayor. So, relatively quickly on this one, the Housing Authority receives assistance through the Housing of Urban Development through the federal government. As part of that, they need to be registered and have a SAMS number. Right now, they are looking for historical documentation that the federal government is asking for, and they are unable to find it. Unfortunately, we also can't find anything in terms of what would we recognize as official documentation for when they were organized. So as a result, they are asking for just an official resolution that basically reaffirms their organization when they were formed in 1978. So that's what this resolution before you is being asked for consideration.
Do they get money? They get money from anybody, from the state, or how does that work?
They
Are they
get,
just an organization that, I don't know much about it, sorry. Educate me like I'm a
So
child.
they work with HUD, and they get a certain amount of subsidized based on the income levels. They're specifically senior and disabled housing, but it's based on income restrictions and income levels of those people who live within the Housing Authority property.
And it hasn't been active, because this says reactivation process, so have they been inactive, or?
From what I understand, they were active, and then for whatever reason, it was never reapplied and reactivated. So now they've lost that number, and they're trying to reactivate it. So that's.
And are they given funds from any state entity or grant or something like that?
In terms of state entity,
I don't know,
I'm
or
not
us.
aware of how, if it gets
I
passed
thought
through a
they
Do
state.
we give them money?
What?
I'm asking because I'm like,
they're
really?
federally,
How is this being
aren't they?
managed right now, and then you want to use their address? Like, what's happening?
Well, part of it is they're having a new management company. They used to be managed up until the end of June by River Falls Housing Authority, and now they're going to a new management company, and I'm blanking on the name right now of what
Sounds
that
like an
company
HOA.
that's
Hey,
taking
my
over.
God.
Them on the sale of the land, remember?
On the Sears? Or which one?
No, the one right up here where the new housing went in.
That double 12s, they're getting built almost right across the street.
Yeah.
The new company is called Allegiant Property Management out of La Crescent, Minnesota.
And what did they do for us, though? Like, what did they do?
So statutorily, Wisconsin State statutorily, the Housing Authority is completely separated from the city, other than the city appoints their board members who sit on their Prescott Housing Authority board. So
What does the board do?
they oversee the property. So like, for instance, they just approved with some of the funding they received as part of the land sale as for Pine Meadows, they approved the money to replace the windows in the building. They go out for grants. If there's resident complaints, they'll review those, keep track of the financials and make sure they're spent accurately and held accountable.
So they're kind of like a hybrid HOA or something? Kind of like, that's how it sounds. It kind of sounds that way a little bit.
I guess
They're a
so, they
management
just
company.
have more authority to like apply for grants for as an HOA. I don't know if they would apply for
Yeah,
any
they can.
federal
I'm still
funding.
confused at what they do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna be
I
honest.
get it,
That's fine,
no,
fine.
yeah.
What do they do?
If you don't know, you gotta ask questions.
Well, no, I'm saying like, what do they do? They're approving things and it doesn't come to here and they have to be independent? I'm sorry, I'm just.
Yes,
asking.
per state statute, once we establish it, they're completely separate entities. They get
statute.
audited separately, their financials, but they're not part of our audit.
Do they get paid?
They do not get paid.
So
Okay.
really all we're doing
I'm
is
okay with
giving approval.
As long as they're not paid, it just doesn't make sense to me. It sounds like another layer. Sorry, I'll be done bitching.
Did they give a motion yet?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 3926, reaffirming the incorporation continued existence and operational status of the Housing Authority of the City of Prescott.
I'll second that.
Establishing their official address.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I gotta make sure. Yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Okay, next is approval of Plan Commission to hold a public hearing on proposed amendments to Chapter 635 zoning on Monday, August 3rd, 2026 at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
That's number 9.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt?
Thanks, Mayor. So in June, Plan Commission, we reviewed conditional use permits specifically and looked at the zoning districts. Right now, at that meeting, they proposed changing C1 to remove large-scale solar farms, same thing with I1. I2 to remove airports, airstrips, and landing fields, railroads and railroad facilities, and large-scale solar farms. Mixed residential, remove large-scale solar farms, and then R5, single-family residential, add accessory dwelling units as a conditional use as it is found with all other residential zoning districts. So per state statutes, any zoning change does require a Class 2 notice as part of a public hearing before changes may go into effect. One of the additional changes that Planning Commission also recommended in 2023 as part of the zoning updates that we did as a city with Cedar Corporation, we changed the accessory building limit from 2 to 3 plus a playground structure per 635-87 in Article X. The residential zoning districts, however, were not changed to modify this, to reflect this change. So for instance, in like an R5, single family still states under accessory uses 1 private garage, an accessory building, and that applies to all the residential. They all have different listings instead of referencing back to 635-87. So as part of this change, what we're looking to do is change all those residentials, R1, R2, R3, and R4, R5, so that they state accessory uses and structures in accordance with Article X. So that will always reference back to that. So with that, Plan Commission voted and held and approved to hold a public hearing on August 3rd to consider these changes. So before you tonight is a consideration of approval for that public hearing on August 3rd to be held by Plan Commission.
Make a motion to approve the public hearing scheduled for August 3rd.
Second?
A motion and a second. Any further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next is other business, discussion on Prescott Fire and Rescue Boat, but Ben's not here.
Yeah, Ben requested this and he unfortunately could not make it because of work. So we'll just put it under other business for the next meeting.
Okay, next is the Board of Review meeting for Thursday, July 16th at 4 o'clock. I think, isn't that 3?
It's 4 o'clock for the board review, 3 o'clock for the personnel committee on Wednesday.
I'm sorry. Okay, next, we're gonna go into closed session. Closed session in in Wisconsin State Statute 1918 1G, conferring with legal counsel for government bodies who are rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is and is likely to become involved. City-owned properties at 256 Front Street.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second?
Roll call. Lindsay?
Aye.
Dar?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
And Bailey.
Aye.
We're in closed session. Okay, we got
Thanks, guys.